everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. Here, let me just adjust my angling a bit. There we are. But first, stay on this video. So, I know it's been a couple days. I know. Shame on me. Shame on me for not having a video out for y'all. But let's get into it. Now, before I get into 3 downsides to concealed carrying, I want to state this right now. In any capacity, am I telling people not to conceal carry? No. I'm not saying don't conceal carry. I do advocate for concealed carrying every day. I carry 2 guns with me every day. It doesn't get more pro concealed carrying than that, guys. I hate to break it to you. I don't conceal carry just 1 gun on me every day. I conceal carry multiple. So it doesn't get more pro concealed carry than that. Let's make that clear. I'm not telling anybody, oh, well, you shouldn't conceal carry at all. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. This is simply just to be an informative video about 3 downsides to concealed carrying that I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree with when I talk about them and go into detail. Now, let's get right into it. Number 1, if you are caught concealed carrying at work, you can get fired. That's something that not a lot of people realize. And it's kind of funny because I've worked at several jobs where that's the case. I've worked at some jobs where it's not required to carry, but they're like, hey, we'd appreciate it if you conceal carried. I currently work at a job where it's required to carry. It's kind of funny because I've seen all different sides of it. So there are some companies, believe it or not, that they do have a strict no weapons policy. If you guys remember that storytime video I did about a former job I worked at where one of my old coworkers essentially went crazy and set one of the manager's cars on fire. True story. Check it out. If you guys remember that, that job is actually one of the jobs I've worked at that has been extremely against people concealed carrying. They've openly said, if we catch anybody carrying any kind of weapons, guns, knives, pepper spray, anything, we will fire them. I still carried 2 guns there. Let's make that clear. I am in no way, shape, or form sitting here telling you guys, well, if it's that big of a deal to you, don't do that. Personally, I would rather people just find a job where they're welcome to carry at work. I would really just rather that bosses not care about whether you're concealed carrying at work or not, because it's really not their business. But whatever, besides the point, there are some places where you can indeed get fired for concealed carrying at, which is ridiculous. My last job technically had a no guns policy. Now, I will say, what was the policy that it said? Excuse me. On the doors, there were signs that said no openly carrying firearms. Openly carrying. I'm concealed carrying. They don't know that. Regardless, so the actual policy itself simply stated, any use of a firearm at work will result in immediate termination. Use of a firearm. I haven't used my gun. I didn't use my gun at work. I just carried it with me. Now, what's crazy about that is if I did, let's say somebody did come in and just try shooting up the place and I stopped them, by that policy, I'd still get fired. You see what I mean? Some companies, they legitimately do not care about whether or not what you're carrying for is the right reason why you carry. They don't care even if you use it to help save their lives. They will still fire you the next day. Companies don't care about you. Remember that, guys. Your jobs are not the biggest deal. I feel the need to stress that enough because I know I'm going over some, some downsides to concealed carrying. However, it's also important that you have to take these downsides or these risks really pretty much as they come. You have to understand that that's just a part of life when you're concealed carrying. It's not the end of the world. It's not something that's going to ruin your life. I'm sure you'll find another job if you do get caught and get fired. However, you could just also be good at concealed carrying and not get caught. Moving on. If printing too much while out in public, it will make you a target, or you will be a target is another way to phrase it. But if it is extremely obvious that you are concealed carrying, for example, if you're wearing super tight shirts, super tight clothing overall, or you're just carrying an obnoxiously large gun on you, you will very much so be printing. It will be very obvious to other people that you are concealed carrying. And some people, unfortunately, are so anti-2A. There's cases where people have literally called the police falsified reports saying that somebody who was in all reality lawfully and legally concealed carrying and doing nothing wrong had threatened their lives, and it turns into a whole fiasco. It's a very unfortunate thing, but there have been several cases where anti-2A gun nuts, or anti-2A gun nuts, I'm stupid, anti-2A, anti-gun nuts is what a better way to phrase it. There we are. Had a Biden moment. I'm very tired. But my whole point is that's some crazy stuff that some crazy people would do. It makes no sense why somebody would want to do that unless they're anti-2A. We see the craziest stuff from the anti-Second Amendment people. These anti-gunners, they go crazy. And it's very unfortunate, but there have been several cases where this has happened. Of course, eventually the police come to the actual truth and realize, oh, this woman just falsified a report. We're going to have to arrest her for this. That's usually what happens. But why would you want to deal with that? Why would you want to take that risk? Honestly. And of course, another example is, let's say, not even an anti-gunner. My goodness. Let's just say you have some annoying police who really are just trying to, abuse their authority. Yes, if you are printing a cop, there's a chance that a cop might stop you. You might be a target of their interest. They might be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing there? I can see that you have a gun right there. What's going on? It's very unfortunate because in the end, it's really not their concern. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, yeah, well, if the police see somebody who, is doing something wrong with a gun, that's very different. If you're just imprinting those, some police will sit there and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and stop this guy. And of course, it's an unlawful stop. It's an unconstitutional stop by every standard. However, it does happen. It's something you can avoid by just getting good at concealed carrying. If you notice, none of these situations I've sat here and talked about have I advocated for not concealed carrying. That's not an option, in my opinion. In my opinion, you need to conceal carry. Why? Because guess what? Who's going to be able to protect you in time? The only reason why y'all don't seem to understand, the only reason why people own guns in today's day and age is simply to protect themselves. That is the biggest and first and foremost thought in their mind is to protect themselves, whether it be from a criminal, from a tyrannical government, whatever it may be, they need to protect themselves. So why would I sit there and tell you guys to not carry? Now, moving on to number 3, because I know number 2, I kind of went off on a tangent there. However, I feel I got the point across. And number 3, once again, is actually, I didn't say this part once again. I'm stupid. Number 3 is the least important out of all of them. However, this honestly is the one that most people complain about too, which is kind of annoying, is that it can be uncomfortable concealed carrying. If you guys have concealed carried for long periods of time, you will admit it gets very uncomfortable. And I don't mean long periods of time like, oh yeah, I went out to the grocery store, dropped the groceries off, went to the movies, came back home, then took my gun off. That's like 4 hours. No, I mean if you have concealed carried your gun on you for 10, 12 plus hours, you understand how uncomfortable it gets. Every little movement, you're like, okay, I really want to take this gun off my hip right now. I can't, you know what I mean? It can get uncomfortable, especially if you've had your gun on you for a long period of time. I carry, when I'm at work, a full-size 9mm. I have 17 plus 1 in the gun itself. My pockets, I'm actually wearing my work pants still, but my pockets are large enough that I carry a 33-round mag as my backup mag and a 19-round mag, because why not? If I can fit a 33-round mag in there, I can fit another 19-round mag. And I have those on me all day, on top of my LCP as the backup gun, on top of the spare mag for the LCP. Guys, I hate to break it to you, it does get uncomfortable. No one's saying it doesn't. However, it's something you can just grow the hell up and deal with. Guys, carrying a gun isn't going to be the most comfortable thing in the world, whether it's open carry or concealed carry. However, I will say concealed carry much more uncomfortable than open carry, especially depending on how you're doing it. However, though, you know what's more uncomfortable? Getting shot, stabbed, beat up, robbed, whatever, being in harm's way and not being able to protect yourself. That's much more uncomfortable. But with that being said, I think that about wraps up for this video. I didn't want to go in circles on three. You know, I didn't want to do that. But, I mean, these are three downsides here to concealed carry. Whether you wanted it, geez, I can English tonight. My goodness. Whether you want to admit it or not. There we go. But am I advocating in any of these for you to not conceal carry? No. Conceal carry, guys. Especially if you can do it without needing to get a permit. Why not? Why? Like, what? I don't need a permit in my state to conceal carry, so why not? But conceal carry, guys. I will never tell you to not conceal carry unless you're risking breaking the law and going to jail. With that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And whether or not you agree with me, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think anybody can disagree with me about the fact there are some really, really, really annoying companies that will simply just fire their employees for wanting to protect themselves. There are some really, really, really anti-gunner people out there. These people are anti-gunners, man. They hate guns. They hate the Second Amendment. They hate people who indulge in it, such as you and I. You know what I mean? I think we can all agree that there are people like that. And printing itself makes you a larger target to those people. Now, of course, I'm sure some of you guys are going to comment down below, oh, well, what about, you know, if I know what you're gonna say. What if a mass shooter breaks out and they see you printing? Isn't that, you know, aren't they gonna make you more of a target? Yeah, sure, but I'm gonna talk about that in my next video, which is gonna be 3 downsides to open carrying. But whether or not you can agree with me, I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with me. Go ahead and make sure to comment down below why or why not. Make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.